And welcome back to the new show. We have a special guest today, Liam McGoldrick. Can you say hello, sir? He said, give me that mic.
It's new show, it's new show. Why is it called new show? Nobody knows. It's new show.
Cheese.
Cheese. There we go.
Give it back to Brandon.
Can I have the mic?
Brandon.
I think Liam's mad at me. All right, today, this is a workout for Tuesday, January 4th. This kicks off our open prep cycle. Obviously, Monday, we will have a workout, but our Tuesday workout, we'll have some strength work before this, and then it is all about doing some movement skill-based work under a little bit of fatigue, but we're trying to make sure that you have recovery between sets. And we'll talk about this when they start the workout. Every 4 minutes for 3 sets, it'll be 25 GHD sit-ups, 50-foot handstand walk, and then 10 GHD sit-ups with an echo at recovery pace between sets. So if it takes you 2 minutes to finish this, which would be fast, then you will have basically 2 minutes on the echo bike before you start your next set. They will then rest as needed and then start every 4 minutes for 3 sets, 6 wall walks, 25 heavy double unders, 3 wall walks, and then they will ski at a 0 damper, their recovery pace between sets. We're gonna let them warm up and we'll be right back. Are we good, Chris? All right, let's rock and roll. We're gonna have this clock start for them. Again, 25 GHDs, a 50-foot handstand walk, and then 10 GHD sit-ups. 3, 2, 1, and go, ladies. They're using the quarterfinal standard from last year. A couple things that we're thinking about. When we're doing this workout, on Monday of this week, just real quick, we're doing a really hard Metcon, and on Wednesday, we're doing another pretty tough Metcon. So today is more about speed and skill-based movement work. Some things that you'll see in stage 2, where we're working on transitions, we're working on the overall technical perfection of the movement, and again, the speed, as you can see, both of them are going pretty fast right now. And then they'll rest with a bike in between, so it's not as metabolic or as intense as maybe a Monday or a Wednesday option. So what I told them beforehand, and this is what you guys should be thinking about as well, is can I keep the same turnover on all 25 GHD sit-ups and then move quickly to the handstand walk? You want to obviously do the handstand walk as fast as you can, but then that second transition back to the GHDs, that's what we're really working on, trying to be as quick as we can back to the GHD and get into a nice rhythm. In case we see GHDs again, I think that's something that's extremely important to work on. You saw with the pistol GHD rope climb workout. That first set, most people are really fast in the 60s, but then the 50s and the 40s, people are really slowed down. Part of that's just overall endurance or their ability to be able to hang on to bigger sets, but another part of that is they haven't been able to train it well. So this is what we're doing here, is trying to train fast transitions and get back into the GHDs and move quickly. Mia, really fast handstand walk time. We'll time them in the next set, but you see she did a great job of going straight from the handstand walks back to the GHDs. And this may look like a pretty easy session, but she's already breathing pretty hard. And when you're doing anything with urgency, it's tough. It's certainly not easy to be able to do 35 GHDs in a 50-foot handstand walk. All right, Tracy's done. It's 1:40 on the clock. Moves quickly to the GHD, and then she'll have 10 reps. The goal here, again, is to try to have as much speed as you can on that second set of 10 reps as compared to the first set of 25. It's gonna be tough if you haven't done a ton of GHD. So if you've been in our program, you've been working on GHDs for the last 6 months. I mean, it really, through our limiter season, which was over the summer of last year, we started building up GHD volume, rope climb volume, wall walk volume, all the things that you see in today's sessions that came out last year. So you should be prepped to do 35 each set. If you're new to the program and you have not been doing any GHD volume, you may wanna cut this down today to, let's say, 15 reps and then 10 reps. And then, or maybe you start at 25 and 10 and then lower it to 20 and 10 and then 15 and 10, just so your overall volume's not too high where you're wrecked tomorrow because there's another hard Metcon. So just keep that in mind. Now, I wanted to kind of point out the overall pace on the bike. This is something that I think most CrossFitters get in trouble with. When we do interval sessions, sometimes we will tell you how fast you have to go, like 200 watts on the bike or 150 watts on the bike. Maybe it's even faster than that. And then there are other times where we say, go at your maximal recovery pace. And then sometimes we'll say, like we did today, easy recovery pace. And what that should mean is quite literally your recovery pace so that you feel as close to 100% recovered before the next set. With this short of a rest, that's not necessarily possible, but we truly are trying to recover on the bike so that we can bring intensity to every single set. So what's the mistake that most CrossFitters make? Most CrossFitters will do a set like this and say, that was too easy. I'm really good at, let's say, GHDs and handstand walks. And then as soon as they get on the bike, they're like, I need to sprint a little bit because I don't feel like I'm out of breath. That type A personality is a good thing maybe when you start CrossFit because you can see a lot of progress, but especially when you're trying to work on a skill like GHDs or handstand walking, you end up burning yourself out where you cannot move quickly, and that's what this whole session is about. It's about moving fast in the GHDs, moving fast in the handstand walks, and if you're always under fatigue, you can't work on the technical aspects of a movement, and that's true with all things in the sport. All right, so they're about to go again. This will be set number 2. 5 seconds, ladies. 3, 2, 1, and go. A couple things to look at in this set. Can they keep the same speed that they did in the first set? And then what will the handstand walk deterioration look like? For most higher level athletes, 25 GHDs into a 50-foot handstand walk probably will be pretty comfortable. Our elite path, they're adding 10 D-ball box step ups, so that'll change the game a little bit. But I would say for most people in our RX or intermediate program, doing 25 GHDs into a handstand walk by that second set, it's gonna be pretty challenging. But we've seen in the open, they've done sets of 50 feet handstand walks. They've done it with heavy deadlifts. I wouldn't be surprised if they mixed GHDs with handstand walks in this next open or something else that's heavy, midline, fatigue, toes to bar, something like that into handstand walks. That's pretty common in the sport, and it's just really tough to walk when your respiration rate is high and your core is fatigued. So again, all of these things are important to work on. One of the things I want to point out with Mia is you notice that she kicks up the same way every single time with her handstand walks. And part of that, if you have followed Training Think Tank, you know that she's really, really worked on this. And she is basically dialed in to where she knows exactly how her hands need to be placed when she kicks up behind the line to keep basically a stable base, but also to be able to move quickly. And I told you guys I was going to time that set. I didn't. It was probably around 20 seconds or so, which is pretty fast handstand walk for 50 feet. Tracy looks pretty good as well. But going back to Mia, it's the little things that make you better at the sport. Mia's handstand walking may never be at an elite level, like if you watched, let's just say, like Noah walk on his hands where he's doing, 50 feet in, maybe 12 or 14 seconds. But she has improved from 45 seconds or 50 seconds where she had to take long breaks to where now she can walk in 22 seconds or 21 seconds, and that's a huge difference on the leaderboard. So the little things, the little details matter. Hand position, where your body line is, what are you doing with your feet, what are you doing with your core, how are you navigating with your hips, like am I squeezing my glutes or am I relaxing? All those little things are things that we should be thinking about. Most people don't. They're just like, I just need to figure out how to walk faster. But the small details, the nitty-gritty stuff, that's really what makes you better at the sport. And as the sport grows, I've said this quite a bit, if you followed us again on podcasts or other things that talk about this, as the sport grows, as more money gets in the sport, those little details will matter more and more. I think that you've seen it from other sports where, the NFL, the NBA, MLB, whatever it may be, they are always working on hand position, how they're blocking someone in the NFL, foot position. We don't think about these things. We just kind of I want to go fast. But again, to be at the top level, we're going to have to start thinking about those things. Chris wants me to go talk to this beautiful bald-headed man with a pink hoodie on. I'm coming over to interrupt the conversation as they ride the bike. How are you guys doing today?
I'm a little jet lagged from coming back from Dubai, but I'm good.
So obviously we're not filming this on January 4th. Max just got back from Dubai, so you guys can figure out what day it is. Did you sleep last night?
A little bit. I got up early.
What time did you get up?
4.
Yeah. Well, good for you. Wide awake.
I came in and trained though.
Yeah, you did. And you had something on you. What were you wearing this morning? I didn't even recognize you when I walked in. You had like a whole head covering on, and was it your shirt? I don't know. I was in a daze.
Me too.
All right, so points of performance for this workout is 25 GHDs, 50-foot handstand walk, and then 10 GHDs. If you're coaching someone that's at the RX level, you're going to make stage 2. What are you telling them to work on in a workout like this?
It sounds like transition speed and keeping the movements as fast as possible. I mean, the reps aren't. Now at the RX level, you got to be able to do. Oh, you guys are going to watch them? Should I keep talking?
Okay. Keep talking.
Okay. So I think in these rep ranges, RX level athletes that are planning on making it through quarters need to be able to move fast and be able to transition pretty quick in this type of a format, because you might have to be doing 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10 GHDs. So doing something like this and getting back to the movements as quickly as you can and keeping the movement speed up, because the intervals are fast enough that I think you can sustain that.
Yeah, and as Max said, I think working on like the deterioration of your speed, basically keeping it as fast as possible, even if you do have some deterioration, matters so much in the sport. Elite level athletes, like they're crushing 60 GHDs and then coming back and doing 50 GHDs like in the qualifier workout last year. But even if you're not at that level, you can practice. Maybe it is doing sets of 10 or 15, but keeping that speed up really will matter. And the same thing for the handstand walk. So in the grand scheme of things, like where does this fit into the week? I kind of talked about a few minutes ago. Mondays, we had a really high-intensity Metcon that is a common combo. Basically, the way that we think about this in TTT Compete is we're running all of the data. We've analyzed all the data from the last 11 years in the Open, the qualifiers, regionals, now sanctionals or semifinals, the games workouts, and we said, what are the most common trends in the sport? What are the things that we can see, and how do we program those? So Mondays is a common trend day. Basically, what that means is we're looking at the things that are the biggest separators in the sport, programming those for you so that you can practice those things. And then the same thing is true for Wednesday, just different patterns, different body parts. So Tuesday is more of our geared towards the skill-based stuff. So again, think about sessions like this, GHDs, handstand walks. You're gonna see wall walks in a minute. You'll see deficit handstand push-ups or regular handstand push-up skill work in other weeks. It's all the stuff that maybe we don't touch as often, but the things that are just as important to do well on the leaderboard. So that's what you need to think about with these Tuesday sessions. All right, so this is the last set. Tracy's taking a little bit of a break before she starts her last 25-foot handstand walk. You can see that this is kind of where the deterioration is going to happen a little bit. You're going to have to take longer rest breaks. You're totaling 150 feet of handstand walking, which is, I mean, it's quite a bit, especially for someone that doesn't have great handstand walk skill. Tracy's pretty good. She's a really good athlete. She did a good job on her hands, but you can see the body lines are a little bit different. Mia's a little bit more upright, really good body line, good hand position, whereas Tracy's a little bit more arched. Now, I'm not going to say one's right or wrong. If you're just trying to get in good positions, Mia is a person to definitely replicate. The only challenge with getting in really good positions is it's hard to be able to create speed variance or to vary your speed. As you get really good in high level, you can keep a straight body line and then still lean and go faster. For most people that are working on it, they can't go faster. It's just kind of like one speed. So I will say, just like a butterfly pull-up or kipping handstand push-up, there are ways that maybe it's not perfect technique, but you can go a little bit faster, which allow you to be obviously competitive in the sport. The sport's all about the most reps or the fastest amount of time, which is all about using less effort per rep, so something to think about. So they're going to ride the bike. Yeah, Chris just said, should we ask her who she's talking to on the phone? And Chris is going to just video. Okay. They're going to ride the bike, and then they're going to rest as needed before they start this next set. Keep in mind, when you're on the bike, even in this last set, this is not for time, it's not to go hard. This is a recovery effort into the next piece. So we'll rest as needed, and we'll be right back talking to Mike and Max again. And we're back. All right, we're gonna start 6 wall walks, 25 heavy double unders, or we'll talk about this, 50 regular double unders, 3 wall walks, and then an easy ski. And we have Mike coming through with the sandbag. All right, sorry, ladies. Here we go, 10 seconds. So we're gonna have Mia and Tracy start the same way that they did in the Open, which is facing the wall, standing up. 2, 1, and go. So just like the last 3 intervals that we did, we're thinking about skill, technique, perfection, and speed of transitions. So you can see both of them are moving really, really fast. Most likely let's just say it was 21.1 again, where you had to do a ton of wall walks. You probably would never go this fast unless you're a high level performer. But we want to work on speed preservation. How fast can we go over the course of 6 reps in the beginning and then coming back to it 3 reps to finish? That's all we're thinking about. Now, when they get to the rope in a second, you'll notice that we have a modification here. 25 heavy double unders for those that know for sure they're getting into stage 2 and or are just working on odd kind of object or different movements, uncommon movements. We wanted to throw these in. They're not gonna be in every single week, but every once in a while, probably once in every 10 training sessions, we'll have a heavy double under. For those that are just worried about the Open or don't really have, or they're not worried about a heavy rope, then do what Tracy's doing. You'll double the reps. It's 50 regular regular double unders. So the transition speed here is really good for Mia. We told them before the points of performance are fast wall walks, and then just like with the GHDs, try to keep that second set as fast as the first set. With wall walks, a little bit harder than GHDs because shoulder fatigue really plays a role, but it's just the intention that matters here. Try to keep that speed up. And the other thing is to really work on hand position. You'll see that Tracy has an X where her goal is to get her hand back to that X on the way back down. I have athletes that will draw multiple X's so that they can work on it on the way up, or put tape marks down so that they can work on their hand position. If you watch any of the high level performers do the open workout with wall walks in it last year that were really good at that workout, you'll notice that almost like subconsciously their hand position was the same every single time they went up and every single time they went down. Brent Fikowski was a really good example of that. Noah was a really good example of that, where they were only taking maybe 3 or at max 4 steps on the way back, or the way up, I should say. But they were just naturally hitting those same hand positions over and over again. Whereas if I see a lower level athlete, I don't like saying lower level, someone that's not as talented as them, oftentimes their hand position will be different all over the place. So maybe it's 4 steps back on one of them, and then it's 6 steps back on the next one. Maybe it's coming back down to the ground. It's 3 or 4 steps and then 2 steps. Find a rhythm, just like you would with a burpee. Like, I have athletes practice the same rhythm, the same steps, the same cadence with burpees or toes to bar, chest to bars. The same thing is true here. A wall walk can become much easier if you have the same hand position for every single round. We'll talk about it, and we'll zoom in on Mia and Tracy in the next round. Just like, I want to kind of make a note of this, just like with the bike, the ski erg is at a 0 damper, and it's at an easy recovery pace. So they should just be going at a nice smooth recovery pace. This is not for time. We want them to be able to actually recover so they can keep the same cadence or speed on both the wall walks and the double unders. So they have exactly 1 minute. They actually did that first round super fast. So let's time their wall walks on this one. Mike was supposed to be over here helping me time this stuff, but he's just a meathead and he's working out. What are you doing, bench press now?
Air press.
What are you warming up for? Lie to me.
I'm just doing some strength work.
I wonder if the mic caught me saying, lie to me, Mike. How heavy is that sandbag, 150?
Yeah.
You made it look like 250. He really needs to work on his strength. It's getting ridiculous around here. Everyone's getting soft. All right, so they have 20 seconds before they start again. I'm going to have them in a couple seconds walk back over the wall. They'll start each set standing up. So, okay, 15 seconds. Notice Mia setting her rope, which is smart. They'll start facing the wall again, and then I will give them a call. 5 seconds, ladies. 3, 2, 1, and go. All right, let's actually time them this time. So 4:02 is where they start. So up and back, 4:07, just under 5 seconds per rep, which was believe this or not, Brent Fikowski's average was right at 5 seconds over the course of that entire double under wall walk workout with that many reps, which is just insane that he could keep that same cadence the entire time. Most people start at 5 seconds per rep. It's one of those movements where almost everyone is very similar for the first few, but then there's like this huge fall off that happens. Either they have to just rest a long time or the actual speed of the movement changes. What I'd like to see change first is have the athlete learn how to keep it fast. So like, can they do 5 second reps over the course of just 3 reps or 4 reps, and then build the endurance at that speed? If you build endurance at a slower speed, you never can get to that peak level of endurance because there's more time under tension on the wall walk. So just keep that in mind. All right, so Mia is doing, again, 25 heavy double unders. You can see how much more labored that is for her. And she told me before we started, she's like, I'd rather do 100 regular double unders than 25 drag rope double unders. Part of that is it's just a harder movement. So for everyone, it's going to be more challenging. But a little bit of that is going to be technique. You can see she's jumping really, really high to get it over. Her wrists probably aren't as strong as they need to be to spin the rope. I wish we could have a side-by-side of Travis doing them. He makes them look almost like a regular double under. His wrists are super strong, and he can still keep his elbows tucked, his shoulders rolled forward, and spin the rope with his wrist the entire time. But most people aren't that talented or that gifted at heavy double unders. It is something, though, to work on. You can see Mia starting to blow up a little bit in this second set because of the double unders, not because of her wall walks. Her wall walks are actually elite-level wall walks. All right, so 1 minute and 44 seconds for Mia. Tracy has one more wall walk. And 1 minute and 52 seconds. Oh, she has one more wall walk. Oh, no, she doesn't. I was right the first time. Sorry, people. Sometimes we all make mistakes. What can I say? One of the things I wanted to point out, you'll notice both of them, but Tracy's last one, since Chris was zoomed in on that, you'll notice that her hand position changed. So that's what we're talking about. Let me get it. I'm scared of Mike hitting me with that barbell. I was kidding about him being weak too, by the way. He's a monster. Tracy's hand position changed a little bit where her steps actually shortened. So the first couple, she was doing a really good job at having a little bit of thoracic rotation, reaching back, taking 4 steps back to the wall. But that last one was maybe 5 or 6 steps. And part of that's just overall fatigue. That's going to happen. But the point of these sessions is to work on, can I keep the same speed with the same hand position every single time? Because if you practice good technique, that will turn over or carry over into competition or something like the Open. So one more set. They have a minute and 10 seconds before they start. One of the things I was going to mention is even at a 0 damper and going at an easy pace on the ski, your arms just fill with blood. Part of it is you get overhead and then you're kind of dumping them down. But in general, you're still flexing or contracting the triceps and your lats when you pull the handles down. I don't know what do you call those, Chris? Are those handles? Ski handles, something like that? Scandals. The scandals, they're scandalous. When you pull down even at a recovery pace, my shoulders, my triceps, my lats, they all get pumped, which makes it really hard when you're doing the wall walk. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you have it at a 0 damper. We will have sessions later on where you're doing this in an intense format. Maybe it's an AMRAP or for time setting. But these early sessions, as we prep for the Open, the whole focus, I know I keep repeating this, but it's important that people do this correctly, is all about the skill of the movement. All right, 15 seconds before the last set, they'll face the wall. 10 seconds, ladies. Are you ready? 5, 3, 2, 1, and go. Nice little spin by both ladies there. All right. Great first step. Mia was 4 steps on the way back and another 4. Mia does a really good job of keeping her hand position the same, especially on those first 6. You can see the same thing, 3 steps, and then basically that 4th step is a tap. Watch her left, right, left, and then just a quick tap. That's really smart too. Have a really fast tap on the line. You still meet the standard, but then it's less time under tension. She's trying to get back to that starting position where she's relaxed and less time under tension with her shoulders as possible. And that's where everyone should really be working on. You see Tracy here is really struggling on this last rep where she had to take a couple shorter steps. Oh, she has one more. So if we can you zoom in on Tracy for this last one? You can see the steps are shortening a little bit, and now it's 5 or 6 total steps instead of that 4 where she started. And that's just part of like, hey, we have to practice that a little bit to make sure that we're a little bit more efficient. All right, so Mia started either with a set of 10, 12, 15, somewhere in there, but you can tell her shoulders are pretty blown up. What I would suggest with the drag rope double unders, if you're not good at those or any heavy double under, is to start adding them into like some basic warm-ups, because we're not doing them a ton in the programming. Most likely they won't come out in the Open, but it's something like if you're going to do, let's say Mia right now is actually prepping for Wadapalooza. If you're going to do a competition like that and you know you're going to be in an RX or above level, then practice the double unders, the heavier double unders, so that you're ready to rock and roll if they do come out. That's one of those things that just sucks if you get exposed in a competition. So Mia is now 1 wall walk in. You see the resting posture. She basically is pushing her hips back. I think that makes a lot of sense. Still same 4 steps, same 3 steps on the way back. She's doing a good job. So this is what I was talking about. Even under fatigue, she does a really, oh, that was her last one. Man, I'm making all kinds of mistakes today. Great job, Mia. I said that you weren't done. One of the things that Mia does a really good job of, and this is what I was talking about or alluding to earlier, is she keeps the same hand position, even though that maybe she rests a little bit longer between reps. She's really working on that same cadence during the rep, and that's the first step to a nice building block of being good at any one thing. All right, so Tracy, that's 2 reps. She has 1 more. You can zoom in on her hands here, Chris, and see, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. It's just that last little step, that last reach back. She can't get quite all the way back. And that's one of those things that I would say if I'm coaching Tracy, hey, let's work on this. Let's draw some lines. Let's make sure that we're continuing to work on this. But under fatigue, it's really hard to keep that same cadence. Mia's worked on it a ton. She's done a good job. Tracy did a great job, but it's something that she could continue to work on. So they're going to do an easy ski. We're going to rest up because we're going to film another news show that comes out in another week right after this. See you guys later.
It's news show, it's news show. Why is it called news show? Nobody knows, it's news show.